Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Jhin supplementary guide, and this one's a little bit of an old school Jhin build. But before we jump into that old school kind of build, of course I'm going to first of all recommend you guys to check out Jin's basic guide that I put up in the cards above. This will of course tell you his skills, leveling order, tips and tricks, as well as some combos. But without further ado, let's jump straight into this old school build. Basically, this is like kind of before all of the new fancy items like collector, like shield bow, all that kind of stuff, before all these come out. Basically, this old build, of course you did have like, some people did go for like static shift or the triple energized item in the build, but I don't really like going for static shift. I think static shift at this point in time is a pretty bad item, but here we're going for STORMRAIZER first item. Now, STORMRAIZER is now very underrated after shield bow come out, and the main reason is the price is similar, the stats are similar, but shield bow gives you a shield, whereas STORMRAIZER gives you a slow plus bonus damage. Now, I find it really surprising to some extent that Wild Rift and ADC players prefer a shield over damage and slow, because most people just prefer damage, right? Like, who likes shields? But it's kind of surprising that shields are actually more popular, but for good reason, of course. The shield is really helpful, and I love the shield as well. But my main point here is that STORMRAIZER is getting very undervalued, very underrated, and it should not be that way, because STORMRAIZER still has a place. STORMRAIZER is actually still very powerful, gives you a very strong early power spike compared to shield bow. Like, if you go shield bow first item, which you can in this build by the way, if you're a shield bow enjoyer, go for shield bow first item, you know, no big deal. Could go for shield bow first item for the shield. But STORMRAIZER gives you such a strong spike in the early game. Very similar stats to shield bow, but you get bonus damage and the slow, which cannot be underrated. The bonus damage, you know, is gonna add up. The slow is gonna allow you to get in more attacks because they are gonna be slowed down, and it's just really good. Second item, Gluttonous Greaves. Huge amount of AD, not huge, but you know, really good amount of AD for the price, and of course 7% Omnivamp. Once again, friendly reminder that Berserker's Greaves on Jhin makes no sense because it gives you less AD than Gluttonous Greaves and doesn't give you any attacks because it's gonna get converted into AD. Lethality Boots is an option as well, but for this particular build, I'm going for the Omnivamp. Infinity Edge, second item, gives you a huge amount of AD as well as increased crit damage. Third item is where the fun comes in, Rapid Fire Cannon. Now, most people never build Rapid Fire Cannon on majority of ADCs anymore because there's so many like quote-unquote better items to build. But honestly, I think Rapid Fire Cannon still has a decent place in ADC builds in particular situations. Particularly when the enemy team has low range, Rapid Fire Cannon is actually really good because you're able to basically get off a free attack onto the enemy team, and especially on champions like Jhin, where one attack does so much damage, that one free attack, and when you combo it with the passive on your STORMRAIZER together with the passive on the Rapid Fire Cannon, it's gonna be able to half health some squishy targets, honestly, and you know, it's gonna be able to do a good amount of poke onto any other target other than that. Of course, more reminder for the Grievous Wounds and Armor Pen next. And finally, we go for Bloodthirster, of course, for the Omnivamp as well as the AD and the Shield as well. Now, you could go for Shield Bow last item if you prefer Shield Bow, because honestly, as the last item, of course, Shield Bow is going to get the maximum stats because you're going to have 100% crit at this point. And that's pretty much it for the build. For the runes, I actually want to go for Fleet Footwork and not First Strike, because First Strike, yes, it does give you more damage, yes, it does give you more gold, but honestly, after like retesting out Fleet Footwork on Jhin, I actually like Fleet Footwork a lot more. The movement speed and the heal is actually really helpful. Like, the heal from Fleet Footwork is actually very underrated and allows you to heal up so much in lane, allows you to take aggressive trades and then heal back up afterwards, and I just think that Fleet Footwork is really good for Jhin. Brutal, of course, for the on-hit damage against champions. Coup de Grace, of course, for the damage against low HP targets. Of course, Giant Slayer could be good here as well if you're against a tanky team. And, of course, Legend Bloodline for the Omnivamp. And finally, Bone Plating, of course, for lane as well as for anti-burst. Now, finally, for Jhin, for the spells, you want to go for Flash. And you have an option between Ghost and Exhaust here. If you are into a lot of, like, assassins and such, you can, of course, go for the Exhaust. You know, of course, to help you out there. But in general, if not, you want to go for Ghost, because mobility on Jhin is, of course, going to be really good, really important, and Ghost just gives you all of that. But without further ado, let's jump into our gameplay. Okay, so now hopping into our gameplay. So as I mentioned, I did mention Jhin, of course, Rapid Fire Cannon, really good into low range teams. Now, is this enemy team low range? Not really. Sion, no range. Yasuo, kinda no range unless he can dash on top of you. Ezreal's range is actually pretty good. MF and Jin's range is actually the same, and Nami has also similar kind of ranges to that. So not really that low range, but considering MF and Nami have the same range as you, when you have the rapid fire cannon, you will outrange them. So overall, it's kind of good because if you hit a rapid fire cannon shot onto either of them, they're gonna take a lot of damage because they're very, very squishy. And of course, Ezreal's kind of only really the person that you can't really outrange because his Q range is really long. But yeah, so here enemy team, MF, Nami bot lane, very, very aggressive bot lane. Double first strike on bot lane. Nami has first strike as well, planning to do some damage here. She did come in for that very, very, very aggressive trade, coming with the W onto me. And yeah, so definitely really a bot lane to take note of. Of course, Jhin is really strong in the early game. However, if we get poked down by MF and Nami, we're basically going to be able to do nothing because we have a Leona with us, and to really win the lane we have to be able to all in and kill them. But if we get poked down by MF, Q, and like Nami W constantly, we're not going to be able to go in. Now thankfully we're still doing a pretty good job of not getting poked by MF. You can see we're maintaining the distance away from the minions so we don't get poked by MF's Q. If Nami wants to poke, it's going to be pretty telegraphed because she has to walk up to poke us, and generally we can trade back something like I was gonna say something like this, but we end up attacking a minion instead. You know, not really what we're looking for. So in the meanwhile, when we are able to, we can try to poke as well. Of course, it's gonna be a little bit difficult because our main poke comes from like a Q bouncing onto them, which can happen, but it's a little bit difficult. Here you can see once again Nami tries to poke, and we're gonna try to counter, not counter poke, but we're gonna try to trade back a little bit. You can see here where both sides are trading pretty aggressively, and the trades are pretty even so far. Now having even trades are okay for Jhin together with Leona, because if we are even, you know, we can still win the all-in, so that's still alright, still speaks to our game plan. But of course, if the trades are unfavorable for us, we don't want to go for those. So here apparently it looks like Nami has backed, because MF is alone and she's backing away from the wave. So it looks like Nami has actually backed and left the MF alone. Turns out that may actually be the case. I think she actually backed and got boots and walked back to lane, but since she backed, we actually are able to get lane parity, and we're able to actually now recall and get a reset in. Of course, the next wave is here, so MF and Nami are going to be able to push in this wave and either try to get tower plates or, you know, get another reset and get items. But here we're gonna walk back to lane. Looks like they're actually going for the plates. So here they popped our fruit. A little bit unfortunate, but not the end of the world. Here I get off a really good bounce. You can see there that I managed to bounce off the minions onto Nami, onto MF. So MF actually took a huge, like 1/3 health damage from that, and she has to actually back now. So here now the situation is reversed. So now we have the push, and we can try to maybe go for plates. But before we do that, we're gonna set some traps down in the river. As I mentioned in my basic guide, you always want to do this as Jhin to kind of scout the area and use it as wards as well as warnings against ganks. So Nami has either recalled or went to some other lane, so we're free here to basically get some tower plates. Unfortunately, our minions kind of run out, and we're not able to secure that last tower plate. We're not tanking some tower shots, which is really bad because we basically poked ourselves on the tower, and we're not going to be able to really go in at this point. So no point sticking around, might as well just back, hit all the way back to base and get back our health and mana. We might lose a plate or so for this, but there's no point staying at like sub half HP against the MF Nami, especially because they're level 5 now. We have to respect that. And if, you know, Nami goes for a ult into like a Q combo, we're definitely gonna die to MF's damage. So we are gonna have no choice but to just back off here, head back over to the base and get back our health. Now something to note here is that when MF has first strike, you want to actually get hit by her E, because if you get hit by her E and she wastes her first strike damage on her E, she's not going to have first strike for her ulti or for her Q, so you're going to actually minimize the first strike damage she gets. So on the flip side, if you are playing MF with first strike, you don't want to start off with your E, because you don't want to proc first strike on your E. That's going to be pretty bad unless you can follow up immediately with a Q. Here I have no idea what my Lux is doing. She walks into the enemy jungle for no reason and just basically blows her flash, which really does not make sense, but this kind of things do happen. Our team is doing not too hot, honestly. Garen's doing pretty okay, but Lux and Vi not doing too good. You can see Vi's weird behavior in this game. She's like invading constantly, but she's dying from the invade. Like, she blew her flash on the first invade and she died on the second invade, so it's really not looking too good for our team. Now here Dragon is actually has just come up, but we are able to actually back to get STORMRAIZER plus boot, so we're going to quickly back for that STORMRAIZER spike, and hopefully we can make it back to lane or back to the dragon fight with the STORMRAIZER in hand, of course for that huge amount of extra damage from STORMRAIZER. It's going to be really good. Now Ezreal 3-0-1, now he's really fed, so we don't really want to tussle with him too badly if possible. But here I managed to hit the 2 minions into the bounce onto MF, so it does a decent amount of damage onto him. Here Ezreal together with Yasuo are trying to do the dragon. I popped the trap over the wall to check the dragon health, and now my team's going in to contest, Leona leading the way. Vi goes in, and here I'm trying to just blast people down. I'm just attacking people. I get the shutdown onto the Ezreal. I'm trying to get down the Yasuo. Yasuo's at 1 HP, pops the shield right at the correct moment. Unfortunately, I tank a tower shot, and I can't believe Yasuo's not dead after all of that. So here I'm going to try to remedy the situation by popping the ulti now. Yasuo has the wind wall, so I'm not really able to hit him. I missed my last 2 shots, unfortunately, and me, Lux, and Leona are left slinkering away at 1 HP. Obviously, you can't really fight anymore. All of us barely escape death here, and we're just gonna have to back. So unfortunately for us, because we backed and Ezreal has actually respawned, the enemy team actually is able to go for the dragon, as you guys can see here from the minimap. So here Vi is looking like she might want to try to steal, doesn't end up trying it at all, which is fine, and the enemy team does end up securing the Ice Drake. So now here we're headed back to lane. MF is alone in the lane at the moment. She ends up backing off. Of course, she's going to be scared that Vi and Nami can collapse on her, which is of course the correct thing to do, and she is of course just going to back off. So here we're just going to push in the wave here. I'm expecting most people to go to Herald, so here I'm just going to try to pick up some tower plates if I can. Actually, Nami does not go to Herald, but Nami's actually back in the lane. Since I just popped my 4th shot, I get the bonus movement speed off of the tower, and I'm able to just walk away from Nami's bubble. Ezreal does end up securing the Herald by himself. Vi tries to go in for the steal, but doesn't get it. We are able to almost instantly clear the wave because we are Jhin, and Jhin has really good wave clear. And now we're just going to try to focus down the tower again. Nami ult comes in, does end up hitting me, but doesn't, not too significant. We end up getting the final tower plate, and the tower is almost down, but of course MF is back in the lane, and we're able to nearly kill the Nami, but at the same time MF is able to nearly kill the Leona, so both supports at pretty low HP, but no one actually ends up dying. So here I get the root onto the MF, but unfortunately I'm too far away to follow up on my own route. In the meanwhile, we're just going to secure the minion wave, and we're going to back because we can get ourselves the Gluttonous Greaves at this point in the game. So here we secure the Gluttonous Greaves together with some components for the IE. Of course, although we have 1k gold, we don't get the cloak because cloak doesn't really give us very much, only gives us 20% crit rate. I'd rather have the long sword together with the glove. Of course, if we can get a BF sword on our next bag, that would be good. Here, MF and Nami are trying to push in the wave. MF ends up tanking a tower shot or so. Here we're now chasing down MF and Nami. Unfortunately, MF is stuck at 1 HP. I end up getting hit by both the wave and the bubble. I'm going to have to flash because of that, and I do end up securing the kill onto MF. Here I'm trying to pop the ulti to try to snipe down Nami, but I have no idea where she actually went. So here I'm just taking pot shots at the general area, and I don't actually see her. So Nami does end up escaping, but we do get a kill onto MF, and we do also get the tower. So in the end, I'd say all's good. So here we get the BF sword that we wanted, and we're going to be able to hit back out. Of course, we have a large amount of AD now from the BF sword, you know, in the inventory. BF sword gives as much AD as the entire STORMRAIZER, so we literally doubled the AD from our items. Of course, not really double, but because Gluttonous Greaves also gives 35 AD, which is of course also a lot. So you know, a lot of AD in the bag for now. So here Yasuo is here. We have a minion wave. He has a minion wave, sorry. So we want to be very, very cautious because he can just dash through the minion wave onto us, which is why we're backing off. Fight ends up breaking out over here with Ezreal going down to the Vi. Here Leona looks like she wants to turn, but doesn't end up happening here, and we end up getting a free pick on Ezreal and just backing off. Didn't actually really mention this in particular in the video, but it's actually an Ezreal jungle here, which is a pretty weird pick, but maybe it's an ADC main who got autofilled to jungle or something like that. Huge wave ends up coming up in the bomb lane with Sion. Looks like he wants to split push with it. Now we don't really care too much about Sion, but we're just trying to actually get the wave. Now of course if he's going to walk towards us, we're going to attack him as well. Now we don't overcommit to Sion because enemy team might rotate, but now that we see the whole enemy team like Yasuo, MF, Ezreal, and Nami are actually in the top lane, we can actually go onto Sion if he's here. So we're actually just going to go straight up for the wave. Sion has either backed or just gone somewhere else, so we're just going to focus on this. Our team is dying, not actually dying, but our team is getting to a skirmish in the top lane. So here in the meantime, we're actually going to just push down this tier 2 tower. Now, Sion is basically doing the same thing here, so we end up basically overall kind of just trading. Here we're going to be able to get this tier 2 tower. Sion's trying to go for the mid tier 2, but Garen and Lux are actually there to defend. Sion looks like he's going to suicide for the tower, or for the tower damage at the minimum. Doesn't actually end up getting the tower, I believe. Yeah, no, not quite. So here, Dragon is going to spawn. I'm going to back and pick up the IE, and then hit straight over to Dragon. The tower isn't even close to falling actually, so Sion just kind of just inted there for the tower for nothing. Doesn't even look like he's going for Hullbreaker, because he has, of course, the Kindle Gem component. I don't believe Hullbreaker has that. So here the next Dragon is, of course, up. We're on the 2 item power spike, of course, doing pretty okay, 2-0 at this point. Not a lot of kills in this particular game, all across the board, honestly. But here we're just going to go ahead and start up the Dragon. Mountain Dragon, of course, really valuable Dragon here. I'm going to pop down the traps to slow anyone that's coming. Here MF hits a relatively good ult here. I'm going to have to flash the Sion ulti so I don't get chain CC'd by him. I'm going to just start blasting him from behind, dodging his Q as well. Get hit by Ezreal ulti, and here I'm just going to pop the Ghost to just run in. Here I'm just focusing the Sion to get rid of him before he can do anything else. And here I'm going to chase down Ezreal. Ezreal does die to a Lux combo. Here I'm really low, but I can one-shot this MF, which I do manage to do, but she does land an auto and does get the kill on me in exchange. On hindsight, probably not worth. But here in the meanwhile, our team gets the kill onto Nami, while the Yasuo gets the kill onto the Lux. So it ends up being a trade overall. Here Yasuo ends up trying to go back in but dies. Doesn't even get the Vice GA. So overall it is pretty good for our team. We ended up trading 3 for 5 with, of course, Vi and Garen left alive. We did get a Dragon as well, so overall it's a pretty optimal chain of events here. So now we are, of course, back up. We're pretty fed 4-1 at this point, and we have gone for the Proto Belt. So Jhin honestly is between QSS, Proto Belt, and of course Stasis. But I honestly find Proto Belt is really useful on Jhin because he has no mobility spells at all. So getting that extra dash on Proto Belt is gonna really help you escape or even engage, or not really engage, but chase down people. Having a small extra dash is always gonna be very helpful, of course, and that's exactly what we're going for in this instance. So here, honestly, nothing really much is going on here. We actually spot out Sion and Nami, like, kind of split pushing at the side here, so we're trying to find a catch on either or both of them. Here, Nami actually ends up getting caught by Leonard. We're gonna pop the Ghost to just run after her, and we're just gonna basically get a free kill off of the Nami, like so. And we actually wanted to move on to the Sion, but we have no idea where Sion actually went. I think he actually went into our jungle and recalled, so he's not actually in here anymore. He's actually managed to get back to base, which is pretty mind-boggling when you think about it. I can't believe we didn't manage to find him and kill him. But yeah, he does get back to his base, and we do get a free pick onto Nami. So here, Ezreal nearly gets caught by Leona, but is able to arcane shift away from her ulti. And here, just popping the trap to see if there's anyone over the wall. Nothing too much is happening here. Ezreal ends up having a very aggressive shift forward to proc his first strike, and Leona's kind of hiding in wait here to try to see if he can find engage. It's clearly warded because Ezreal launched a Q at her, so it's clearly warded. So no point really, doing anything here. So here I'm in the warded bush now, which of course we do know is warded because Ezreal just took a pot shot in that bush. I believe it's warded, but here anyways, I'm just gonna head over inside this bush. And see if we can find some kind of bush camp or something like that. Here, I'm gonna head into the further bush in, but I believe this bush is warded as well because Emma just launches her E into the bush. So this gives us information that the bush is of course warded. And yeah, so you want to do this kind of play, you kind of need the sweeper or a control ward. But yeah, so nothing really happens here. Ezreal ends up getting kind of caught out by the chain CC from from Leona as well as myself. But look at this, man. The MF ulti damage is insane. I'm gonna have to Proto Belt Flash out of the Comet as well as the MF ulti. Here Ezreal 1 HP, gonna snipe him down with the ulti, and not the rest of the shots not can't do really much with it. Whew, but you know, wow. That slow from the Nami ult into the MF ult was pretty nasty. Nearly just end up straight up dying there. If we didn't have Proto Belt and Flash, we would actually have died to either the MF ult or the Comet. But we do manage to secure our rapid fire cannon right as the next dragon is about to spawn as well. So with the rapid fire cannon in tow, we can hopefully just land some extra poke onto enemies before the main fight happens. Vi is not around. She's actually just end up dying in the top lane right before Dragon, so there's no real point of going for Dragon anymore. Ezreal is of course currently dead, but he's gonna revive in a couple seconds, whereas Vi is gonna be dead for the next minute. So Dragon is basically gone at this point because we can't possibly contest Dragon unless we kill Ezreal or something like that. Here I'm trying to find a free pick onto MF, and it actually doesn't end up working here. Just look at this, boom, she's just dead. To the 4th shot, which does like, it did like the damage equivalent to like half her health. So since there's no point contesting Dragon, I'm gonna back and defend the inhib instead. Even if we could contest Dragon, arguably defending inhib is more important than getting Dragon. Unless it's triple Dragon, it might be worth to contest Dragon. Here I'm gonna focus the Yasuo, and we get the kill on Yasuo. Sion's a really tanky boy, so we're gonna have to take a long time to focus him. Look at that shield, man. I'm not eating through that shield. I was waiting for the shield to pop, but I realized that the shield's not really popping, so here I'm just going to continue to focus him. He tries to flash away. He tries to hide in the bush to get the knockout Maluna, which he does manage to actually get. And we're just running him down. CC comes in from Leona, and damage is coming in from me. Takes a couple of clips of Jhin's bullets, but we do eventually get the kill onto the Sion. Get the slow on him as well to prevent Leona from dying to him. But unfortunately Leona recalls in a pretty greedy position and does end up getting caught out by Ezreal and Nami. So yeah. So now we're gonna back and or rather we're gonna pick up the blue buff first, and then we're gonna back to get some more components of Armor Reminder. Of course, the anti-heal is coming in really handy now, because of course there's healing, you know, on like Yasuo, Nami, etc. And also the armor pendant is gonna be very helpful against the Sion in particular. So really important item purchase for us. We've gotten the components, which, you know, of course gives you the important stats, but not really the full thing yet. So Baron is actually alive now, but Yasuo is here pushing, so I'm okay to show up in this lane opposite Baron, because Yasuo's here as well. Now here I'm just going to finish off this wave. Here Yasuo's coming back with the Tornado in hand. Doesn't really land it anywhere near accurately. And here you can see my team is trying to do a 2-man Baron here, while the enemy team is kind of distracted by the fact that I'm there. And Sion's pushing mid, so here they're going to try to stop Sion from pushing mid, and my team is now doing a 3-man Baron. This is basically the same thing we did in the Corki video, where we basically just pretended like Baron was not happening. So here I'm just going to focus Sion and basically get a free kill sooner or later. We do get that free kill, my team gets Baron. And we can hopefully use Baron to push or something like that. Here you can see the rapid fire cannon slow plus damage onto MF that did nearly half of her HP. And she's getting a little bit chunked out. Elder Dragon is of course up already as we were doing the Baron. But here we're going to see if we can pick that up. So here Ezreal tries to go all in on me. It does a lot of damage. I'm going to flash the wall just in case. And now Lux is focusing Elder Dragon by herself. Now I'm going to actually do the Elder Dragon with her. Vi is on the opposite side of the map, but so is Ezreal. So here this should be a real 50-50 you know, flip depending on, you know, who it comes to contest, which turns out to be no one, so we end up getting the Elder Dragon for free. And here Leona is going to engage on Nami. I'm going to go for the ulti. I do hit a shot onto Nami off screen, which you guys didn't see, but Lux ult does finish her off. Now here Yasuo's going onto me. He flashes my root. Completely outplays me, honestly. Well played by the Yasuo. He flashed the root to avoid the CC, and he put down the wind wall so I could not do damage to him. And he does end up picking up the kill onto me. Well played, sir. Well played. And we do end up going down. In the meanwhile, our team is trying our best to make use of the Baron. Of course, now Yasuo and Nami are dead. So we should be able to have a little bit of wiggle room to play around with in terms of our Baron buff and what we can actually accomplish with it. So here my team is trying our best to just push down lanes and such. Lux getting caught by Ezreal, does manage to trade 1-for-1 with the Ezreal eventually before she goes down. MF spots the Vi on the Ghost Power, but doesn't actually back up, so maybe she just didn't see. Vi's is gonna get a pretty much free kill onto MF at this point, and she's gonna head back into the jungle to do a little bit of counter jungling. Mid lane tower is actually really low, and Top lane tower is getting pushed in as well. Of course, the Baron buff is no longer active, but the Elder buff is, so we do still have opportunity to possibly take down a couple of towers. Here, Red buff is up. I'm doing a lot of damage at this point. I'm just going to quickly just pick up this Red buff. We of course have completed Moral Reminder as well as gone a Vamp Scepter as well. Mid lane tower has been secured. Bot lane tower is soon to follow. And we're just going to head over to the lane and see what we can do to help the situation. And here, although only 3 people left alive, really difficult to end because Sion is really tanky and we can't really tower dive him or anything like that. Ezreal is going to stay far away and really not too much we can do in this particular scenario. So here I'm just going to just back off a little bit, and yeah, probably you need to wait for another round of objectives to be able to just close out the game. We did secure triple inhib though, so really, of course, really ideal situation for us. Shouldn't be too much the enemy team can do here. My team ends up getting into a fight in the mid lane, so I'm rotating over to see if I can help. Ezreal really caught out here. I actually end up getting the stun on the root, sorry, onto Ezreal, and I flash the Nami ulti. Pop the ghost for the movement speed and trying to run around here. Unfortunately, Sion is the closest target, so I end up focusing Sion. I nearly kill MF here, but Sion ultis me and I do end up dying. Now, this is a pretty huge throw by my team. Everyone really made mistakes here. Basically, first things first is why are Lux and Leona getting into a fight over there when our team is not anywhere around. That was the first throw. Second throw was when I came into the fight to help them. That wasn't a mistake in itself, but the mistake was flashing the Nami ulti when there really wasn't a need to. I either should have, number one, not flashed the Nami ulti, because this would give me my flash for the Sion ulti. Or if I want to flash the Nami ulti, I should flash forward instead of sideways. I should flash over the Nami ulti to get into range of Ezreal and try to kill him. But I end up basically flashing sideways, achieving really nothing much, and even if I got hit by that ulti, no one was going to kill me anyway because no one was actually nearby, but I end up panic flashing and it does cost me my life eventually because I didn't have flash to dodge Sion's ulti later on. But thankfully though, not my entire team is wiped and the enemy team can't actually do Baron or anything like that because they have to deal with three lanes of super minions pushing in, and in fact, despite the fact that we all died, Garen actually still has the pressure on the enemy team, and together with our actual waves. And here we're actually going to go ahead and pick up another relatively free Baron because the enemy team is too busy occupied by clearing out their minion waves. So here, Garen's actually leading the fight to us, which is not very intelligent. Thankfully, Vi manages to smite the dragon to secure it, and we're able to actually get the Baron, sorry, not smite the dragon, but smite the Baron to actually secure it. And here, with the Baron buff in tow, we're going to try to end the game here. Now, I'm not sure what Vi is doing here. I'm not sure what Lux is doing as well, but we should be just all pushing together to end the game. Lux is getting caught out. Vi is trying to help her, and Ezreal and Yasuo are both there. Now, we spot the fact that the two enemy carries are actually not in here, so we're going to quickly finish off Nami, and then we're going to actually just go for the base. Now, only MF and Sion are here to defend, but we're going to basically try to ignore the Sion and just end the game like that. So we're going to get the dub, and as usual, I'm going to leave you guys with the stats. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.